Oh, welcome. Welcome to the program Marriage and the Family. Marriage and the Family. You know, I always say I I love to talk about marriage because marriage is the marriage plays a very significant part. Like in our community, in a society, if you have a very strong marriage, a very strong family, definitely you're bound to have a strong nation, a strong church, or a strong community. And that's why discussing the issue of marriage every time, is very important. And I want to say welcome again to the first edition of this week. We come on twice every week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and probably sometimes on Saturday if the need be. We have a special on Saturday. So I just want to welcome everybody. Um, share the podcast if you can, so you can give others an opportunity to be a part. So you can share and make others a part of this of this program. The last time we were talking about how to make your marriage work, how to make your marriage work, how to keep your marriage in order. In other words, we're talking about how we can keep your marriage in order. And there are a number of things that we discussed on last Thursday, talking about keeping your marriage in order. One of the things we discussed was we talk about prioritizing communication. We talk about prioritizing communication, respect, and sharing goals while maintaining your individual space and pursuing your shared activities. So that's what we said. We talk about how to maintain, how to prioritize, or how to keep your marriage in order. And keeping your marriage in order, we said, yeah, you got to prioritize communication, respect, and you got to share goals. And share goals. Why you maintain your individual, your individual space, activities, and hobbies. But we also did say that and we also share more details, right? More key points um, of communication. We talk about open and earnest dialogue, regularly discussing your thoughts, your feelings, and your needs with your partner. We also talk about listening activities, paying attention when your partner is speaking, and try to understand their perspective. Try to understand the perspective of your partner. That's what we said. So you got to try to understand your partner's perspective. So you got to understand your partner's perspective. That's what we said. And and we also said that in doing that, you also have a clear and a respectful language. There got to be a clear and a respectful language. In other words, you can just communicate with your partner, just anyhow. You can just discuss, communicate with them just anyhow, and you must avoid using and accusing and dismissive language. When you're talking with your partner, learn to avoid using accusing and dismissive language. That's what we said. And we talk about also addressing that conflicts. We say you got to be constructive. Don't let your disagreement fester. Address them promptly and calmly. In other words, obviously you are two different people. So it is a fact that Certainly you're going to disagree. You will disagree on a lot of stuff. You disagree, but do not allow your disagreement, to turn into a disaster. Address them in a calm and a polite way, and then move on, and that's what we said. Address them in a calm and polite way, and move on. And we also talk about respect and trust. There gotta be respect and trust. You can't. There's no way. Both can be partners, and there's no respect and trust. We also talk about mutual respect. You gotta value your partner's opinion. You gotta value their feelings and their boundaries. Mutual respect, and it's key. It's key to maintaining any relationship. It's key to maintaining any marriage. You got to respect your partner. There got to be mutual respect. Respect is not one way. Like I said, somebody said to me, they don't respect me, and I don't. So the question I asked was, do you respect them? Because you see, respect is a two-way street. Respect is not a one-way lane. It's not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. It's mutual. It got to be mutual. You got to respect me as I respect you. So when you're asking for respect, you got to make sure that you also giving respect. You got to give respect. And we talk about boundaries. We talk about trust, or trust and loyalty. Trust and loyalty. And of course, we said that you got to build a foundation you got to be a foundation of trust. Through honesty and reliability. You got to be honest. You can be partners. You can be, couples, and honest. There got to be honesty and trust and loyalty. And you got to build your foundation of trust. Through honesty and reliability. You got to be trusted. You got to be trusted. People got to trust you. Your partner got to trust you. Even if you went somewhere and you forgot to communicate, your partner got to trust you and know where you went. Because you've already built that foundation. You already built it. So you must trust. You must build a foundation of trust and honesty, true reliability, and let people be reliable. In other words, be reliable. Be reliable. And we also talk about forgiveness. In a relationship, there's no way you can be, you can have a couple, you can be couples, and you don't forgive. Forgiveness is key. Forgiveness is key. You must be willing to forgive each other's mistakes and move forward. We are all human beings, and as human beings, of course, we are prone to mistakes. We make errors. We make a lot of errors. We make a lot of mistakes. So you must learn to forgive one another, when the hurt, and we forgive one another mistakes and move on. Move on. Exactly, that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it is. You just forgive one another and move on. And we also talk about, showing appreciation. Showing appreciation. You got to regularly, on a regular basis, express your appreciation for your partner and their contribution to the marriage, their contribution to the relationship. You got to show appreciation. Tell them thank you. Tell them thank you for making me who I am, because since you came into my life, you've added value. You made things easier for me. You allow me to, and just tell them thank you. Show appreciation. Show appreciation. There's nothing wrong with showing appreciation. Showing appreciation is key. And I think that's one basic thing that is lacking in most relationships. Most relationships, people don't know how to show appreciation. People don't know how to tell one another thank you. Probably the man will say, but I'm doing the work, I'm going out, I'm working, why should I tell her thank you? Maybe the woman will say, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing it, why should I tell him thank you? No, you got to show appreciation to one another. You got to show appreciation to one another for the contribution that you bring to the relationship. Each and every person, there's a level of contribution that you bring to the relationship. There's a level of something that you bring to the relationship. And so you must be must be appreciative. Learn to appreciate one another, because whether you know it or not, that your partner, they bring a level of contribution to the relationship. They make enormous contribution to the relationship. What you see, when you learn to appreciate one another, you learn to see the value that your partner brings to the relationship. You see the value that it brings to the relationship. You see, but when appreciation is lacking, when you have not learned to appreciate one another, then you will not know the contribution the next person is bringing to the relationship. But you must learn to appreciate, because when you start appreciating one another, then you will be able to catch and grasp the contribution that each person is bringing to the relationship. And we talk about shared values. I say shared values. I talk about discussing long-term vision. Talk about your shared goals and your values for the future. And I talk about collaborate on important discussions. You got to learn to collaborate on important discussion, work together on important decisions such as your finances, your career, your path, and the raising of your children. Those are important factors. Those are very important factors, that we cannot overlook. And you got to learn to support each other's dreams. Each other dream. The person will say, well, I think I want to do this. And I say, yeah, you got to support that person. You got to be there for them, encourage them. Help them in whatever way if possible. Maybe if because they are busy with it, they got something to do, help them out to do so. But support them in whatever way possible. Support them in their dreams. Support one another in your dreams, and encourage and support your partner, personal and professional aspirations. Support them. Don't say, well, that thing, I don't know, if that's what you want to do, well, it's up to you. No. It cannot be it's up to you. You must support them. You must support them. You can't say, well, you say you want to do it, try. No, you must learn to support your partner. Support their professional aspiration. Support their professional aspiration. Learn to support your partner. Don't just tell them, oh, okay, if you want to do it, go right ahead. No. That's why you are partners. Because you must learn how to support each other's dreams. Support each other's dreams. Support your partner's personal and professional aspirations. Yeah. And of course, we talk about maintaining your individuality, your personal time and hobbies. In other words, you got to allow each other, space to pursue individual interests and hobbies. Allow each other space. And you got to spend time with your friends, with your families, maintaining relationship with your individual support system. You got to maintain your relationship with your individual support system. Okay, so I think that's not where we stopped last week. So we're just going to continue, talk a little bit more on how you can maintain, your family. You got to share. I'm talking about setting boundaries, and sharing activities together. You got to share activities and experiences. Share activities and experiences. Like maybe going on a date. Make time for regular dates to rekindle your romance and your connections. Make time for regular dates to rekindle your romance and connection. You see, when people were not married, you were going out left and right. But now you are married, try to maintain that. Take a regular time out. Go on a regular date. Go on a regular day. Oh, let's go to this place this evening. Let's go this place let's go this place Saturday evening. Let's go there. I'm not talking about where you just carry the whole family. No, I'm talking about you and your partner alone. Yeah, there are times you carry the kids with you. There are times you carry the children with you. But there are times that they got just the two of you got to go there and just rekindle, your romance and connection. That's all. Rekindle. Just go and just show one another love. Share fun, share jokes. The thing you used to do. Now, it is so surprising that there are things that folks used to do when they weren't married, but now they are married and it just stopped. It just stopped. I don't know why, but you need to continue. If you were going out on a regular basis, spending time together, you need to continue to do that. That is how you can maintain your family. That's how you can maintain your relationship. You got to rekindle, because sometimes, it's like the fire is going off, but you got to shake the fire off, shake the ashes off, and rebuild the heat. How do you do that? By going out on a regular time, going out on a date or time together. Oh, let's go to the restaurant today. Oh, let's go out today. Let's go out this week. I'm not saying every day. It's not an everyday thing because you guys probably are busy. So it's not going to be an everyday thing. But once in a while, you do a date because, in order to rekindle the romance and the connection. The romance and connection. So it's important. It's important. That's how you can maintain your family. That's how you can maintain your marriage. Spend some time together. Spend some time together. And yes, everything is not in the house. Sometimes you go outside the house and spend some time outside together. Go to the restaurant and order some food. And see if you can, just the way you used to do before you got married, and carry your hand across the table and feed her, let him feed you again. Rekindle that connection. Rekindle that connection. It's very important. It's very important. And I think a lot of people overlook that. They say, oh, I'm busy. No, don't. You see, sometimes the too much business it kills the marriage. It kills the marriage. So you need to rekindle that love, that romantic and connection. And you also got to find activities that both of you enjoy. Activities that both of you enjoy and participate in them. Maybe it's just going for a walk. Maybe it's just walking on the beach. Maybe it's just, playing or watching a movie or doing something. But it got to be activities that both of you love. And there's activity that both of you love, and, you're participating in it together. Maybe it's just about watching a game, and probably, and sometimes it's always like that the both of you don't even support the same team, but go on the field together, go on the field and, participate in the game, share the fun, share the joke, share the laughter, it's important. It's very, very important, because we're talking about how to maintain your family, how to maintain your marriage. You got to get involved with activities. You got to go on an out dating at times. You got to rekindle your romantic love and your connection. That's how you work it out. There's no magic to that. There's no magic to that. There's no magic you can spend. Now, maybe some people say, but maybe it's sitting in the yard, just walk in the yard. Or just stroll on the road or somewhere, just walk on the road and walk back. You hold hand in hand, like the way you used to do when you were not married before, and maybe you were dating or you were caught while you were doing. But just take a stroll. Says, oh, honey, let's take a stroll on the road. Maybe you just went to the shop and, just to buy. Of course, you don't really need to buy anything to the shop, but just go to the shop and, oh, we want something. You just buy it, maybe you can hold a bottle of soft drink, and then before you just stroll on the road and stroll right back. You got to find something to make your marriage exciting. That's how you maintain the marriage. It cannot be dogmatic. It can't just all be, stagnant. You got to add some vibes to the marriage. You got to add some juice to the marriage. So find hobbies and activities that you can that you all like and participate in it together. And maybe I'm saying maybe you got the finances, you got the money, and you can travel, take some travel adventure, explore new places and create new memories and create shared memories. So you say, okay, look, on your birthday next year, we going to Ghana, we're going to, wherever you are, you say, we're traveling to this country, So you share memories together, create and share memories together. Maybe you go for a week, go for 1 week or 2 weeks, create and share memories together. That's how it works. That's how the marriage works. If you want to maintain your marriage, don't think it's just going to, all of a sudden, the marriage start working. No, you got some part to play. You got some stuff to do. You got to work it out. you know. And in working out also, you got to open financial discussion. And again, we come back to the issue of money. You got to open financial discussion. You know, you got to discuss financial issues, of course. You got to, open financial discussions. You know, discuss issues on financial goals, on your values and concern openly and honestly. You got to, discuss it openly and honestly. You got to be open and honest about discussing the financial value. You know, it got to be an open and earnest discussion. An open and earnest discussion. It got to be open and honest. Got to be open and honest. Because the last time I said to you, sometimes the biggest issue in a marriage, it comes from the issue of finances. Finances, is the most, sometimes the difficult issues. Most marriages, they got issues because of finances. And as you discuss the financial issues openly and honestly, you work together and create a budget so that nobody just don't spend anyhow. Nobody just don't spend anyhow. You say, oh, but sweetheart, you had some money. You say, yeah, I did this. No, you got to do everything on a budgetary basis. On a budgetary basis. So you create a budget and that meets your needs and your goals. You don't exceed that. That's discipline. Create a financial discipline in the marriage. In the marriage. Because it helps. It helps the family, it helps the marriage. It helps the marriage. So you talk about how to maintain your family. These are ways that that you can help to maintain a family. You have a healthy discussion. Have a healthy discussion. And you gotta learn to manage your finances together. Manage your finances together. Make financial decisions and collaboratively avoid surprises. Avoid surprises. Manage your finances together. Manage your finances together. Don't let somebody say, oh, I was supposed to pay the mortgage and this thing happened, No, manage the finances together so that you can avoid surprises. You will avoid surprises so that everybody know what is going on. Everybody will know what is going on. So you avoid surprises. Because when you don't do that, and somebody's supposed to take care of something, and they don't take care of it, and then by the time the surprise come. The surprise come. So to make your financial decisions collaboratively and avoid surprises. And we're talking about how to maintain your marriage. Again, it's not automatic. There are things that we need to do. You need to spend time together. Go out on a date. You need to trust one another, believe in one another. And that's how it works. And you gotta seek support. Don't hesitate, to seek professional help if you are facing challenges. If you are facing challenges in your marriage, don't hesitate to receive, to seek professional help if you're facing problems. But before you seek your professional help, for a Christian marriage, you should already seek the face of God. You should have already sought the face of God. Seek the face of God first. So that's how you can manage. That's how you can maintain. You can keep your marriage in order. That is how you can keep your marriage in order. Like I said last week Thursday, you got to prioritize communication. You got to, prioritize respect for one another, and you got to prioritize shared goals while maintaining your individual activities and hobbies. That's how it is. You got to do that. You got to respect, one another. Respect one another, because it got to be mutual. It got to be mutual, because there is no way you can be, in a marriage and say you are, a married couple, that there is no respect, there is no communication, nothing of that sort. You cannot. And in that way, you're not keeping your marriage in order. So you keep your marriage in order, you must follow, you must do these things. Even though these steps are not, a quote unquote, they are not a superficial, they are not, a concrete, solution. But I believe these are steps that when you practice, will help you maintain your marriage and may help keep your marriage in order. Will help you to keep your marriage in order. Like building trust and loyalty, building your foundation on trust and loyalty and honesty and reliability. You got to learn to trust one another. That's how you maintain your family. And I hear somebody will say, oh, I saw your husband, I saw your wife there. The person said, no, I don't think that my wife is that somebody saw. So carry your gossip on that side. That is what happened when you build your marriage on a foundation of trust and reliability. Trust and reliability. You tell the person, you don't know who you're talking about. I don't think about wife you're talking about. I don't think about husband you're talking about. You don't know the person you're talking about. I know them. So carry your trouble elsewhere. That is how you can keep your marriage in order. So it's key, it's very important. It is very, very important to keep your marriage in order. Don't overlook those things that probably to you look small. Don't overlook them. Don't overlook them and say, oh, those are just minor things. No. You remember the last time we talked about the termites? Termites are those little insects that undermine a foundation over a long period of time. Over a long period of time. But in the end, they will end up destroying what was built on a foundation. So, you must learn how to keep your marriage in order. Respect one another. Go out on dates. Not every day, but at least once in a blue moon. Oh, sweetheart, let's go out on a date. And you can say, it's on me. You can make that news. It's on me. Let's go out. Have some fun. Rekindle, the romance and the connection that you once had that was, that really, really moved you to get married. Rekindle that. There are times that, the zeal and the dynamism you came to the marriage with, there are times that they're kind of wearing out, they're kind of going, not that you want, not intentionally, but because sometimes you have your business schedules and stuff like that, but then you can rekindle them. You can rekindle. So let's go out. Let's go out on a date. Let's go out. I'm taking you out today. And those things, it matters. It matters a lot. And like I said, if you got some money, you can take a travel adventure. You can go and create create memories together. Take some photos, take some selfies if you can. 2 years ago we're in this city. 3 years ago we're in this city. 5 years ago we're in this city. Create that memory together. Create that memory together. But you got to do everything to keep your marriage in order. It's not going to happen, automatically. You can't just be working. Of course, you say I'm working for the family, but working for the family don't miss out on rekindling. Because the coal, when the coal burns, after it burns for a while, sometimes for a longer while, then the ashes come on the coal. If you don't shake the ash off, eventually the heat wears down gradually. So it's that rekindling that you have to shake the ashes off. Then the heat, the coal start burning afresh. Start burning afresh. And that's what you need to do every now and then with your marriage. Every now and then. Shake the ashes off. Rekindle the fire. And let the heat start blazing again. Every now and then, shake the coal pot. Shake the fire, shake the coal, and shake the ashes off. That's how you can keep your marriage in order. Got to keep shaking it off. Got to keep shaking it off. Because, look, sometimes marriage, some folks who are meant, they really meant well. They're both of them. But when they get so busy and they forget about rekindling the marriage, then problem starts. Problem starts. So you got to find a way, to keep your marriage in order. Shake the ashes off the coal so that the coal starts to burn afresh and it starts to give more heat like it was given before. And that's the way to do it. Don't spend time, don't waste time and thinking that, I will do it later. No. Because a long period of delay, sometimes it goes to a place where, because if you allow the coal to completely, the ashes to cover the coal completely, eventually when you go look there, you might not even see one piece of the coal on fire anymore. You might just see a little small piece on fire, and you try to catch it, it will never catch. So the way you can keep your marriage in order is to maintain respect for one another. Oh yeah, maintain respect for one another. Trust, honesty, and reliability. Take some time off. Show appreciation. I say show appreciation because, listen, there are times that, look, when you learn to appreciate your partner, then you will see the value that it brings to the marriage. But when we don't learn how to appreciate, you never know the value they bring. You never know the value they bring. You never know the value they bring. But when you start appreciating them, then you will know the value it brings to the marriage. So appreciating your partner is key. Appreciating your partners is key. And like I said last week, you gotta forgive. Forgiveness is also a key. Forgiveness is also a key. Because we all are humans. We falter, we make mistakes. So forgive one another your wrong and keep moving and move on. In that way, you keep your marriage in order. Listen, it's not anything magic. It's just something that you must be willing to do. Something that you must be willing to play a part. And as you do, God will help you. As you play your part, the Holy Spirit will play his part. The Holy Spirit is not going to do for you what you can do for yourself. You got to do what you can do and leave the rest of the Holy Spirit. So again, that's how I want to end this broadcast again today. And I hope this little chat was a blessing. And I'm still finding means to see if I can invite people on the show, see whether people can, come in and, can have a discussion. I'm still working on that. And as soon as we get it through, we'll be having, open discussion with everybody. Somebody, once you got in, want to give your input, we're live. But until then, you can give your input by your comments, in the comment section, and we'll all respond to them. So again, I will see you on Thursday, same time, same place. And thank you for watching. And please share the podcast. And I wish you a blessed day. Have a wonderful day. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.